you're still tuned into Market Pulse, and in our spotlight today is Stanbic IBTC Holdings, as the CEO of the Standard Bank Group has announced plans to increase its stakes in the Nigerian bank. Stanbic IBTC Holdings, Sim Tshabalala said that while speaking about plans to increase the group stake in Standard Bank de Angola, he didn't clarify, however, just how much the bank will be willing to invest in Stanbic. But we're going to get more on that discussion right now with financial markets analyst with Nairametrics, David Olujimi. He's joining me now. Hello, David.
Hi, Joanna.
All right. So what would this move mean for the bank, right? Especially amidst this recapitalization exercise. And then as well, what would it mean for investors, both those holding the stock right now and potential investors?
So basically, the way I see it from the perspective of the bank. The bank's proposed right issue. The bank proposed the right issue in May, 150 billion. They've not started yet. But Standard Bank already holds 67.55%. Any move to do a right issue means that bulk of that capital is going to be coming from Standard Bank Group. So I believe that the CEO has this idea that if there is an undersubscription of this offer, they are going to mop up the excess shares. That's going to lead to further increase in their stake. This thing happened with international bureaus some 2 years back, when the stake of international bureaus the stake of AB InBev in international bureaus increased from about 50+%. It increased to about 60+% because shareholders did not mop up the existing shares, their rights. They did not take up their rights in the rights issue. So I think they're looking at it from that angle, because based on what we have right now, I'm not sure any move to say they want to increase their shareholding means that they want to probably do a buyback. That means they are probably tilting towards a share buyback, which we've not seen details of anything, but that was not in their plan, and I don't think that should be in their plan right now.
So let's also take a look at the performance of the stock on the NGX, right? Right now, I believe it's about 53 naira 40 kobo. Rather expensive for a banking stock, right? It started the year at 69, almost 70 naira, and since it's depreciated 23% or so. So what's your assessment of the bank's performance on the NGX as a stock? So
Stanbic IBTC Holdings is one of the few banking stocks that has ever crossed the Swiss mark. So we've had Zenith, we have GT, we've had First Bank cross, we've had Access Bank cross, we've had UBA cross. However, before First Bank, UBA, and Access crossed, Stanbic crossed last year.
Right.
So that's to give you an insight into the size of that particular stock. That particular stock is a weighty stock, because Stanbic IBTC Holdings is beyond Stanbic IBTC Bank. We also have Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers. We have the issuing houses. They have a number of very strong subsidiaries that could be forces themselves on the market, all merged into one. So the performance we've seen with Stanbic IBTC on the stock of Stanbic IBTC Holdings, the performance we've seen is just a reflection of what we've seen the market do with all other banking stocks this year. And that stock is, considering the fact that there's a very limited number of free float of it in the market, just about 32.45% of Stanbic IBTC shares is free floating. Because of that number, it's not a very liquid stock. It's not a very liquid stock that has inflow and outflow. So you barely see. It's almost like
so if you buy, you may not get if you buy, you may not find it easy to sell. Is that what
that's
you mean?
One of the things. It's a stock where investors are quite people who hold that stock. You usually look out for the dividends. It's not about exchange. Exchange. It's not about buying and selling right now. So
I mean, and you've also mentioned, obviously, it's one of those stocks that had crossed a trillion amongst. And the other banks you mentioned in that list were tier 1 banks. So do you also see Stanbic knocking on the door of
so
tier 1?
Stanbic is Stanbic IBTC Bank. So this is the thing we have to make. We have to be very clear on the clarification between the holding group and the bank. Stanbic IBTC Bank is a national bank. It's not like all those banks I mentioned all hold international banking license. As it is, Stanbic IBTC is looking to raise just 200 billion. So even with the rights issue, they probably have already crossed that mark, because they already have about 69 billion paid up share capital. That's the bank. And they are looking to raise about 137 billion. So anything that causes them I'm not sure. I cannot say they will step into the tier 1 bank, but being on the size of their performance, return on equity, they are they've been a very consistent bank. Okay. They've been a very consistent bank.
Right, we'll see how it all pans out, especially with recapitalization. Yeah. They haven't commenced, right?
No, they haven't commenced.
But they've made announcements about it.
But they've said it since May. They made the announcement in May.
All right, we'll be tracking all of that and more right here on Market Pulse. But thank you so much, David Olujimi, for joining me and providing the insights. Financial markets analyst with Nairametrics. Up next, we're heading to the African markets. And yes, the bulls have it. It's all in the green. Nigeria, unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what's happening. We haven't, touched green this week, flat today, but GSE is up 0.34%, as well as the Moroccan index. Egypt, NSE, and Ghana is flat as well. And unfortunately, that's our show for today, and not just today, for the week. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We'll continue to track the pulse of the markets at 4 p.m. West African time. Every weekday, it's Market Pulse here on News Central in partnership with Nairametrics. Now to the global markets.